I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and this is the finals of the first Chile Online Carcassonne Championship 2024, which was initially organized to find out the players who are going to qualify for the Carcassonne Champions League, the big international online event we are waiting for. But there was so much interest that the Chilean Online Championship grew quite possibly to the biggest online national championship to date. So here we can see, no, not here. Here we can just see the semi-finalist and finalist. So our finalists are Bryan Townsend with the screen name HT Bry and Hector Arce. Hector defeated Vladimir with the screen name This is Vegan CL 3-1 in the semifinals, and this, as you saw on stream, quite convincingly. Building very big cities and then managing to very masterfully protect all the entry points to the city, and certainly we'll see if Bryan came prepared, if he actually is going to watch the stream, and we'll see if he'll avoid fighting for big cities altogether. Bryan, on the other hand, I would say quite surprisingly defeated Claudio Jorquera 3-1. To me, out of all the players who were qualified for the playoffs, I would place Claudio as the favorite to win the whole thing. So, certainly, we can expect anything from this finals. Hi, Anton. And the games are going to start in a minute. I wanted to show you a page here where you can see all the players who actually participated. This is briefly all the tournament table. I just wanted to show that. Look at all these expert-rated players. 10 experts in Chile, that's a really big deal. And of course, several of them had achieved master title before. Alrighty, so that's it actually from me. Not much of an intro. Now let's just look at the players and try to update and wait until they start the match. I decided to start the stream like 3 minutes early for a change, but turned out I only needed 2 minutes for the introduction. So last casual game 20 hours ago, we can see that Tito took no mercy on an unsuspecting soul with whose screen name I'm not familiar. That was of course not a tournament game, but merely a warm-up. Let's actually have a look at Bryan Townsend. Yeah, so he already has created the match. You can see national coat of arms of the National Carcassonne Federation as his avatar. 3,000 games behind his belt. Also quite active on BGA. Anyway, let's hope they have started. Do let me know in the chat who you're rooting for and who you think is gonna win. So it is Tito who is higher rated at the moment, but it is Bryan who has the green meeple, the starting player advantage, and now very good tile. Now let's see how he places it. So the standard move is of course to go over here. You go over here, put a meeple on the city cap, and then kind of build these two cities and use the second meeple as an insurance. Yeah, he goes for the standard move, which is the best move. There were some other options available to him. Tito now with a simple city cap also makes the best move of starting a new city facing to the left, Haidevaka, and at the same time creating an attacking platform against the city of Green. Which is why he finishes his city immediately, probably for the best. But now he creates some potential vulnerabilities on the square. Not a big deal, of course, at the start of the game. Tito prolongs his city, and Bryan Townsend meeples a road. The side effect is that we have here a juicy 5-point monastery spot, which will be now taken by Tito. Of course, it's tempting to go over here, but this move is much better as it also controls this road square and can put some pressure on this meeple later on. There's some question whether to turn about the orientation of the monastery. There were two possible rotations. Black picks the best one. So now, it's a very interesting situation here for Bryan. Like, what do you do? Do you just go here and take a meeple back? This is what he chooses to do, right? And most importantly, meeples the new road. And this is very important because Black could use this road as an attacking platform. And it's important that we use this meeple for insurance. Black meeples a new road next to his monastery, develops his monastery, creates another juicy 5-point spot, also prepares to get a 5-point road. But a great tile for Bryan as well. Continuing his city, also covering it up from all possible invasions, and at the same time continuing his road. Black at the same time gets 2 points, gets on the scoreboard, and also prepares to finish this 4-point road. So both players are being very efficient with their tile. That's exactly what you want from the opening, and pretty much every player has played their best move so far. Now, you see, the only one little criticism I have for Black is that it was better to rotate this road that way, so that it wouldn't be possible for Black to take 2 points and create an attacking square on this Black road with tempo. So a minor detail, but victories and defeats add up from these minor details. Also, this reminds me that I haven't told you about the main feature of this format, is that unlike most matches in most national and international championships, this is not a best of 3, but it's a best of 5. So we're probably here for a good 2 hours of entertainment. It is a bit late in Europe, but it's still manageable. And of course, just the right time of day in South America. Early-ish evening. Alright, so we can see that Tito is trying to gain access to Green City. Green, in the meantime, can't do anything about it, but at least he's going to start a new city and create an attacking platform against Black. Yeah, also, like, Black, interesting, is now not in a hurry to invade Green City because he's kind of happy with what he got, but he should have definitely gone here. Yeah, because like the idea of Black, like of course, like when you plays this tile here, this has flexible intentions. Like he could invade the big city, or he could build a city for himself. But now that Black has decided a city for himself, then it's better to cover up and then start restricting this square, possibly then invade later. So then Black is forced to change his plans and now try to do something about Green City like this, but then why invest a whole shield? Yeah, you can also see that actually that minor detail that I was talking about did make a difference, as Green was able to start blocking Black's road. So fortunately for Black, he got bailed out by a crossroads immediately. And excellent move from Green, covering up his city and leaving still 2 tiles that finish his city immediately. Still 2 tiles in the deck, those Doritos with the road. But there are also 2 horse tiles. So there are all kind of combinations which go like triple city cap that allow him to finish the city. Tito finishes his 6-point city, and Bryan meeples a monastery. Very important for Green to equalize this Black monastery. And Tito starts a farm. That's a move that you normally want to
play with a splitter like this. Also, temporary meeple advantage for black due to this road off green, which is yet to be finished, and given that 5 crossroads have gone out, this road is kind of vulnerable. Both players are even on the scoreboard after Bryan has taken these 4 points over here for this city. And Bryan starts a new city on the right, attacking Tito's city. And Tito really sacrificed a lot of points. He doesn't choose to go over here, but instead he tries to block 2 cities at the same time. And now I believe Bryan... Well, actually, this is very interesting. Bryan has several good moves to consider. So move 1 is just to go over here, try to make a big ruin, and give yourself an off chance for a splitter. What I don't like about... Well, what I like about this move, that it scores 4 points immediately, 2 for the city and 2 for the road. What I don't like about it is that it's kind of easy to block with a straight line, and that's why he goes for what I think is the best move from a win percentage standpoint. He covers up the city, leaving himself a Dorito tile for a 75% chance to finish the city. And it's like these 75%, they really go a long way towards that winning probability, because it's a setup for a very high scoring move. So currently, this green meeple is scoring what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points for a city. If we finish the city, these 8 points will turn into 20 plus 3 points of a road. That's going to be 23, or maybe even 25 if we draw the Dorito with a road. So that's like 24 times 75%. Yeah, so this move has the value, the expected value of 16 points and a meeple back. That's a lot. Okay, 16 points and 3/4 of a meeple back. So hopefully you are following the math. If not, just don't worry about it. You know, it's not necessarily important to think about probabilities like this, although it does help. Hi, Edgar. Guess who I'm rooting for? Well, I'm not sure what kind of relationships you have with your siblings. I know for some people it can be very much the opposite, and sibling rivalries are real. But of course I hope that you will be rooting for your brother, who, by the way, is now not doing so well, at least at the moment, as Tito draws one of his key tiles and is preparing to finish a 20-point city. At the very least, Bryan here got an evil hamster for 9 points, currently ahead on the scoreboard. And now come the big plays. So we can see that this field is controlled by 2 black meeples. This is worth 12 points, some green squares for development. Of course, Bryan's going to now go over here for 8 points. A very easily completable monastery. Of course, this develops the field, but it ain't no big deal, and it seems like this position will need to be an imbalance, where green tries to just score a lot of points, because he can't really afford to fight for his field. Like, he will be at a meeple minority for a real long time, because this city is not coming back anytime soon, and if this city is coming back, then he's probably going to win without having to fight for the field. This road also will need a couple of tiles to be completed. Yeah, now tricky decision here for Bryan, because this is a very sensitive square here. And he could go over here and start a new city, and this would leave 1 tile and 1 tile only for Tito to finish this city. But this would also make it impossible to try and connect to that city. Also, if you go over here, you're kind of exposing a platform to block this square, So that's why he's not in a hurry, and he decides to simply secure his own city first, deciding that there's still many road tiles remaining, which he can use to go over here, start to loop road, and block the city. So much so that I actually think that a meeple on this road was certainly worth a consideration, even though Bryan has a road over here. Like, a meeple on this road would be really nice for defensive purposes, because now what black can do, well, obviously with this tile, black can go over here and equalize the city. Not quite sure why the long thing. Oh no, he chooses to block. Okay, this is... Yeah, we can see, I think, this is just a strategical misstep from Tito. I mean, it might end up working out, but I just can't see why you do that. And I'll explain my criticism to this move in a second. So, as black, I could have played over here, just equalizing the city, and then focusing on my plan of developing the farm. Or just ignore the city and develop your farm straight up. But now, my main criticism is going to be that black has voluntarily relinquished his main strategical asset, that is control of this field. Well, he still has control of this field. Basically, his asset is the long-term meeple majority. Now that he has dispersed his attention across two fields, then this gives us a chance for Bryan to fight for this field. And yeah, the reason why I was thinking about this road over here is because Tito... But maybe but because Tito, instead of this move, which actually I like this, it's a good move, but also another move which is really nasty, which you could have considered, is going over here and meepling this loop road and using a loop road basically as an indirect barrier, because Bryan wouldn't really be able to do anything with this square in order to restrict this square. So let's say, imagine the situation like this road over here and black meeple here on the road, and then if green wants to restrict the city square, he's forced to add a curve here or something like this and finish black's road. But black chose a more direct defense. I like this too. There are still 3 tiles that fit into this square. Not that easy to block. Bryan now thinking what to do with this tile. Interesting approach. I would have gone for the more standard move, just finishing the 8-point city and meepling a new one. Now we can see that Tito's drawing very, very well. Not only he drew the last tile that fit into this square over here, he also managed a... Wow, what a great move. I'll tell you why. So this is a move that accomplishes several purposes. First of all, it meeples a 5-point city. But second, it disallows Bryan from going over here and meepling this 5-point city himself with tempo. So now he'll just force to spend a tile to finish his own monastery. And third, most importantly, it is a complete defense of this square. So it looks like not that strong because it's an indirect defense, right? But it is actually stronger than simply placing this tile over here, because simply placing this tile over here would allow black 2 tiles that go here. But going over here and restricting the blocking opportunities for green makes it so that all 3 remaining tiles, so this would be 4 remaining tiles, yeah, 3 remaining tiles, 1 starting tile and 2 barbed wire tiles. So they all fit still into the square, and there isn't anything that green, there isn't anything that green can put over here. Wait. Yeah, so I was saying that there isn't anything that green can put over here, because like all of the 5 Doritos and the 3 cow tiles, horse tiles, triple city tiles with the road, they're all out, so there are no blocking tiles. So that's excellent recognition from Tito. Quite a difficult situation for Bryan after the city has been permanently blocked, but still manageable. Because Black has kind of spread his attention across 2 fields, I think a possibility would be to maybe partially block the square and then try to draw the other tile. So now, as Bryan, maybe we don't finish our city, but we actually go here to restrict the square a little bit further, so that blue. Yeah, my color problems are back. Black. No. Yeah. So we go here. Exactly. And then we try to draw the last remaining tile that goes here. And I'm going to use that tile to finish this other city. The disadvantage of this move is that it sets up a 4-point road in the event Black does draw the critical tile, but I think if Black draws that tile, then Green's situation is quite difficult. Hi Crafty, hi Isabella. Yeah, and Bryan's plan works perfectly, as he does draw the one remaining tile that Black needed, and he also uses it to close his city, I presume, thinking whether to meeple this road, but of course he shouldn't, given that he has a road open, and there are barely any crossroads remaining, actually. So it's not crazy to consider another move. No, it is crazy. Just go here. I mean, he's probably maybe thinking whether to meeple a field, but don't. Yeah, he has 3 meeples, and he'll be able to put them to good use. There's still 1 monastery remaining, which could go here. And with 13 extra points on the scoreboard, Black having 21 points on fields, but on different fields, and some monasteries, which are sort of compensating for these 2 ruins, and this road, which roughly equals this ruin over here. So Tito still has more points, but given the 2 extra meeples, I'd say Bryan has now really good winning chances. Hi Mauricio. Tito probably develops his field, and maybe the idea is that he could draw a regular monastery and then get him some more green squares. He's also making it harder to invade the field, but I think the main purpose of this move is just to do something with a straight line. There were really not many options. Well, actually, no, I think there was a better move. I think just going over here and restricting this empty city cap, not allowing Bryan to score easy points with something like a splitter, because Black would ideally prefer that nobody gets points for this city cap, because if somebody gets points for the city cap, this would create another 6-point field, and Tito has no more expendable meeples. So it would be Green who'd be occupying this field. Now Green is going on the farm. Interesting, it's going here and not here. I wonder why exactly. Sort of is clearly rooting for the last monastery here. But I think it's still like it's a bit premature, and also, so this move, it's really not a lot of value for this sort of move. So it gives 3 points and a 50% chance to get 3 more points. So that's 4.5 points per meeple expected. A move that I would have preferred is probably just starting a new city. And in the event of a block, we just try to draw one of the 2 remaining city caps with the road. So this one or this one. Bryan now draws daggers, gets 4 quick points from here. plus 17 on the scoreboard. Yeah, you know, like sometimes I can sort of empathize with the meeple like this. You know, like sometimes we have 3 meeples in hand and the game is approaching and like your situation is so good that you just start putting meeples everywhere because like you just need to use them. But it is a bit imprecise, of course, because like you look at this, there's now this 5-point road, which could be a 6-point road and so on. Yeah, we do see a farmer, which of course is not something that Tito enjoys seeing. So he just adds 1 point, and that's interesting. He chooses not to take this city cap because it's already in his opponent's field. And given the fact that there's only... Well, there are many city caps remaining. There are like 3. There's the splitter, and there are 2 more daggers. So Tito decides to simply build cities elsewhere, but I would have probably just cleaned up the city cap and then try to get another one, because now Bryan is going to get these 4 points and develop the field anyway. Also, we can see that Tito now doesn't really have enough meeples to do all the things that he wants, because he wants to go here, invade a 9-point field, but he also would want to meeple this road ideally. He can only do one of those things. But you're probably not gonna get much. So let me think, how could black win this? Well, before this move, maybe there were some chances to finish this city, but not really, actually. Not really. Because all of the 5 regular Doritos have gone. Hi, Felipe. Hi, Aladan. Make sure to meeple the like button if you like this video, so that the algorithm suggests this to more people potentially interested in competitive Carcassonne. And of course, make sure to subscribe if you intend on watching this kind of content more than once. Bryan gets a fantastic tile. It gives him 1 point and a chance, very good chance to get a meeple back. I do believe there are a couple of curves remaining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there are 2 curves remaining actually, so very, very easy to get a meeple back. And Tito with not a lot of options here. Probably going to get a point. Maybe hope that your opponent is not counting tiles. Yeah, so like this is what I would do out of desperation. I would probably go here. Then I would just hope that, let's say, green is not counting and green draws a curve. And instead of placing a curve over here and finishing his monastery, like green does something like this, because green is too afraid of a city. I mean, this is of course not the case. Both players are really strong and strong enough on their tile tracking as well. Now Bryan does get the monastery, which will go here for 6 points and an extra 3 points on the field. Tito gets a splitter for an extra 1 point on the city. No point in developing his field, because this field is now a joint field. And Tito gets 1 road point, and Bryan gets 2 monastery points. Yeah, so I must have miscounted the curve a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, where's the 9th curve? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, never mind. I mean, they weren't curved, but they were curvoids, like this one and this one. So they were curvy tiles anyway. So it was possible to finish this monastery after all. And yeah, with all his monasteries, Bryan should have it, despite the farmers of Tito, which give him mighty 15 points. But you see that second farmer, I think that second farmer, this is what lost Tito the game. So first of all, this second farmer just allowed green to get away with the city over here. And second, it sort of diverted resources from expanding this field, which could have been way more than 15 points. Yeah, and green successfully got a counter field on his own, and won despite not hitting the big setup over here. So so far this is looking really good for Bryan Townsend, and he's the first on the match scoreboard. So 1-0, at least 2, potentially 4 games to go. We have started game 2, as both players have already scored points. This time it was Tito starting with a 2-point road, Bryan with a 4-point city here, Tito with a road expansion, Bryan with another 4-point city, and Tito finally with some quick points off his own that you've just seen. Now a Dorito tile for Bryan, a good tile to start a new city. Probably over here is best. You certainly want to avoid expanding the field. Yeah, you want to avoid doing stuff like this, so that would be actually quite a significant opening mistake from Bryan. I would say like it probably costs like 2 win percentage points. It's really, really a lot, and the reason for that is, well, there are 2 reasons. First of all, if you start a city here, then you're giving your opponent fewer tiles for evasion or other sorts of attack. Now, for example, now there are like 4 tiles, or let's say 3 tiles that really hurt you. Imagine like the cow tile that goes here. It makes it really, really hard to finish that city. But if you go here, it's much harder to attack from here. And it's not really possible to do that without sacrificing points, or at least to like attack that city organically. But now, you see, so he gets a road tile, a simple road tile, and also drops a farmer. Of course, the first monastery goes for Bryan. But imagine this, if this city is here, then black can go here still to attack with the same restriction, but without the farmer. Now, but the main issue with this move, I didn't tell that yet, is like normally you don't want to be the side that builds cities in an unclaimed farm, because whilst you're building a city, you are at a temporary meeple minority, and your opponent is slightly more likely to end up with a majority on this farm. So far, this is actually exactly what happens. Now, of course, Bryan draws a fantastic tile, can go here, should drop a farmer immediately, then he's going to finish a city, drop another one. And suddenly this is not looking that great for Tito. So what does he do? Does he go here to equalize the monastery? Does he go here for simply the best equity? I think you really do. A less experienced player would panic and do this. Oh, I was about to say that like a less experienced player would just use this monastery as a tile to create an attacking platform against the city, but I think it's way, way too panicky. I mean, it really sacrifices a lot of value. Now, what you could do, you could go here, because you know that like this people is not getting blocked, so you might as well just connect green to the farmer. It's okay, but these 4 points are really, really good, and there's lots of good potential for development. First of all, there's this road for 6 points, which you would be controlling as black if this monastery were here, with a tile, with already a platform to disrupt this road or connect to it. And second, you would be setting up a move that creates a blocking platform, but also adds a point to your potential monastery. So, yeah, I would say really, really serious mistake here from Tito. And the consequences are already here as Bryan drops another farmer, finishes the city, and is really about to make some damage. So Tito, of course, quite wisely starting to block the square. And Bryan immediately draws a curve, connects. But even if green were to fail to connect here, even if this were the square were blocked, there's this route still, how both meeples can connect to the main field. So very, very difficult situation for Tito now. Oh, great question. Craft Giraffe is saying, starting a city with a Dorito at the right would allow the opponent to bend the city into the road, and there are only 2 starting left. Yeah, so the idea is this. If our opponent like takes a cow tile and adds to our city and bends it into the road, well, then that's fantastic. They have just added 1 point to us. This is super, super easy to defend. We just put a straight line here or something like this. Yeah, so like, and for example, if you compare a cow tile, like this move and this, compared to this tile and a cow here, so the same draw, but like here it's way, way more disruptive than here. Yeah, like if and also, by the way, the advantages of this move, it would already create some pressure against this black road. Well, no, it was some time ago in the game, so maybe like the explanation requires a bit of spatial imagination. Luckily for us, our both opponents are taking their time, so we can talk about all kinds of things. But back to the action. Tito's trying to build a city here, maybe thinking of going here, and drawing the last extender and building a big city like this. Of course, it's not the only plan, but it's a possible plan. Green just goes for the pure equity move, starts a road, and also prepares a potential block against this road connection. Certainly would be nice to strand your opponent with just 1 point whilst you're sitting at a healthy 5. Yeah, Tito just well, you see, he can't find a good use for the monastery. Again, I would just claim one of those. Well, here it's a bit less important because this spot is like not that good as the other one, and there is a tiny bit of equity for blocking here, so this move actually makes sense. Then it also sets up a potential of like a field connection combo, Zaharik style. I'll explain later a little bit what it means when, if such a situation arises. Yeah, Bryan just goes for the pure scoring moves, takes 4 points for road, starts a new city, always a meeple in hand. Monastery controlling the road, easily completable. Black is now starting a new city, also protecting his road connection a little bit. But Bryan here with the restriction. Yeah, you see, so Tito now takes the 6 points for the monastery and plays the last meeple, and yeah, maybe that makes sense. But in this situation, you could have considered these 3 points as well for the road. No, but that makes sense too. So what Black is hoping now is to really quickly get a city cap and get a meeple back. There's a bit of a problem that he needs a city cap in 2 places, but he can use road end tiles to go here and here. He can use a curve to get a meeple back as well. Yeah, and he also is now finishing his road indirectly, adding a rodent piece here. So he'll get his monastery meeple back in no time. And in the meantime, what a sneaky move from Bryan. So I really like this farmer here. He gets a city cap first. And the idea is that when and if Tito finishes his city, then Green will already control the 6-point farm. And this 6-point farm could very easily be part of a big farm. And that's going to happen if Black draws the curve to connect these two roads. And if Black doesn't draw these curves or doesn't draw a tile to continue the city, well, then Green is happy anyway. So this farm is actually really, really strong positionally. So Bryan with a splitter. Not many options here. Probably just get out of harm's way. Yeah, connect to the farm. Get some meeples. Some city caps, I mean, on your field. But actually, now that Green is in the lead, ideally you don't really want to develop this field too much, because it would give a chance for Black to find a way to come back into this game. All Black needs to do is just regain his meeples. Maybe even gain a meeple majority by messing with this square. Maybe cutting off this farmer and sacrificing this 1-point meeple. And then just trying to take over the field. But even that might not be enough. As Green scores 4 more quick points for the road. 23 on the scoreboard already. And not the best tile for Tito now. Just simply goes for what looks like a field restriction. Really not many options there. And Bryan will now inflict some damage on Black. So this tile probably goes here, but with a bit of hesitation, and I can understand the hesitation. So normally this is a no-brainer. Your opponent has 1 meeple, you break the city, and then you try and break it completely. Yeah. The downside of stuff like this is that Tito now has some potential new winning ideas. So since he's behind, he'll now probably try to simply brute force the completion of the city, and some of the time he's going to be successful. Yeah, this is a great move. You know, you don't go for the city cap, you finish your road, and also you indirectly continue your city. Still several tiles that go here productively. Like a triple city would be nice, setting up a Dorito city cap completion. Still 4 Doritos in the deck, so but other options as well, such as splitter here for 4 points, and then some more Doritos. Yeah, because Green can't really do that much about the city other than attempt to block it. Green can just invade. This move, Bryan needs to think very, very carefully. So we can see that he is trying to block Black's monastery quite wisely. At least now it won't be possible to finish the monastery with another monastery. Black cleans off a city cap in his opponent's field for immediate 4 points. Minus 13 for Black, but 2 extra meeples. There's also no platform to drop many more farmers onto the field, such as this one. He has to take an opportunity. He has to go here and probably drop a farmer. And I think it's okay to, well, actually I'm not sure, but like it's so efficient. So he should go here, of course. The question is whether you meeple the city or meeple the field, and both are possible. Yeah. So, meepling the city on one hand is the move with like less variance, because it doesn't allow your opponent to pick up easy for 8 points from the city cap over here. The downside of this move is that it sort of ties these two cities dangerously together. So it won't really be possible to finish one and the other, I think. Because if you put a tile here, this square is vulnerable. And if you put a tile here, well, then this square is vulnerable. Yeah, but the advantage of that move is, of course, the tempo that it gives. Like, some of the time you just win this coin flip, like you would have anyway. So, of course, it's a nice outcome for Tito as he gets 8 points. But he doesn't get a farmer here. And now, actually, Bryan has an option. Probably as Bryan, you want to just go here and allow your opponent to get the extra meeple, but at the very least, take the 4 points. Yeah, now that Tito has regained some points on the scoreboard, and he's about to regain a meeple, either now on this move or on the later move when he draws one of the 4 remaining curves himself, then suddenly Black's positions start to looking really good, as this big field has already multiple platforms for attack, and it's a bit hard to defend. So that's why a move that we could consider as green is just going here simply for the sake of eliminating a field connection platform, and then we try and draw another tile to go here to eliminate the other field connection platform. Of course, there is also the option of going here, sacrificing the 4 points, getting some meeples back, and just making a big field where you already have a +2 majority, unifying all the fields. And I think it's really between, well, these all 3 moves are valid. Probably as a plan, I like getting the points first, and then this. Or, maybe we don't even need the points. So let me think about it. We're at +4. Black is going to regain those 4 points when he finishes the monastery, whatever. Monasteries are equal. So if we go here, we are in a situation where we have a complete equality, but we are controlling a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 city field with +2 meeple majority. And there are 2 connection platforms, which means that if our opponent, let's say, uses one platform, then we have a chance to immediately use the other and preserve the +2 majority on the field. So probably the move that makes the sense most strategically is not the intuitive move and not the spatial move, but just this simple move here. It also alleviates our meeple disadvantage a little bit. Ooh, so he goes for complete field control, but I'm not sure about that. Well, that's interesting. That's certainly very, very interesting. And now does he go here? Yeah, so he separates the roads, gets a meeple back. The disadvantage of this move is that, of course, he makes the square next to his monastery vulnerable, but Tito does not draw a blocking tile. Instead, Black will need to decide how he wants to proceed, and he decided that he's going to try and finish this big city, which I really like as a potential winning strategy. 3 more tiles remaining. Green has only 1 meeple. Yeah, so I'm not sure, like, this move is interesting in theory, so, like, it's kind of the same idea of trying to get a super majority on the field, but then why not just do it with this tile without having to invest an extra meeple? Because what happens here, like, this is just a 6-point farmer. Now, it's not such a good farmer. And I guess green did that to sort of preserve the majority on the road, but the majority on the road is worth 4 points. So you're going to spend an extra meeple on the same idea to save 4 points. Well, this essentially is dropping a meeple for 4 points worth of value. So that's what it is. So as lovely as this idea looks, it's because it's spent so many meeples, it gives Tito some chances to try and win this without the field. Bryan with a dilemma now. He wants to go here and finish his monastery. But the city by black is also dangerous. So he kind of wants to go here and cap it and restrict the square. Not restrict, but actually block completely. Because all of the 3 dagger tiles that would fit into the square after a city cap move like this, they're all gone. So this would leave this meeple stranded with 11 points, and this is exactly what happens. And this already shows why creating threats is important, because by simply creating a threat of completing the city without even managing to complete it, black delayed, possibly indefinitely, the recuperation of this green meeple. Only 1 tile available now that goes into this square. Suddenly this looks quite manageable for Tito. Now what do we do here as black? Maybe we want to go here or here to restrict one of these fields. Maybe we want to go here to attack the field ourselves. Yeah, but instead we're going to go here. That's interesting. So if black is going here for a city worth 3 points, this means that black is thinking that he's winning, or at least that he's very likely to win. So this means that he wants to make sure that if green draws the city cap here, he can't comfortably place it here because this would allow black the threat of completing the city. Or, you know, black could just draw this tile himself, try to draw all kinds of tiles that fit here, and then complete the city himself. And now Bryan here needs to make a decision. He can either go here and simply make 2 points by unifying a 1-point ruin with a 3-point ruin, or he could go over here and make sure that this city is never completed. So this would tie all these meeples together, this would sacrifice a couple of points, and there's still 1 more triple city tile remaining to unify all the 3 meeples, giving the black 2 versus 1 majority on this potential ruin, but at least it would make sure that black never completes the city, which is the worst case scenario. So he goes for the slightly higher risk approach, but the one which gives more points. And Tito's now making some threats. Not for long, because Bryan's now about to block this square. Of course, needs to count some tiles, double check some things, but if you're going to place over here, then as we established, there are no daggers that left fit, so of course it was a nice way to create a threat, but not going to happen here for green, which also means that not going to happen here for black, which also means that green can safely go here if he wants to recover his monastery without being afraid that his opponent is going to complete a city. Still, 6 points for ruin, absolutely worth the investment of a meeple, so nice sequence by Tito here. Also 4 points for the road that he finally gets from his monastery, unifying all the farmers. foregoing the idea about fighting for the field and trying to get his points elsewhere. Now let's do a quick point count. 21 points here for this farm and 6 here, so that's 27 for farms. 5 points on the scoreboard puts Bryan plus 22, plus 30 because of an 8-point monastery. This is equal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 12, 18. So 12 points. 12 points green is ahead after this move. But, is it possible to make up 12 points with 2 meeples? Well, yes. We could start by taking a 6-point road. It's half of 12. Although the problem is, where are we getting the other 6? It's actually really difficult. And also I think that, I mean, obviously if Bryan gets another meeple, then I think black is losing no matter what. So black needs to hope for this tile. Now some other possibilities include just simply going over here, trying for a new city, complete the city, drop a farmer. You know the drill, biggest threat in Carcassonne. The problem with that is that, well, it could be the biggest threat in Carcassonne, but it's easily blockable by, you know, any curve or something like this. But the good thing about this move is that it opens another opportunity. So imagine this. We place a farmer. We, our opponent, whatever, gets something like a straight line, goes here. But then we draw a curvy tile, drop a farmer, draw another curvy tile, connect like this, and we get not 6, but 10 points, because as a result, we finish a 4-point loop in in the process. Now, black goes for a simple way to connect to the farm, which I don't really like, actually, because, like, the farm is worth 6 points, and you're going to spend 2 moves on making 6 points. Why not just make the 6 points with 1 move? Or maybe he is... Yeah, so now, of course, he successfully connects. Well, actually, I know why. I think that's because there's still a tile that goes here. And that would give somebody 4 points for the city, and this would increase this field for 9 points. So technically this actually is worth more. Yeah, so maybe that was actually a really nice prioritization moment here. Also, yeah, starting a new city was indeed another option. And now Tito is down 6 points for the price of a meeple, so that's a much more manageable deficit. The problem that I still see for green is that there are 2 critical tiles, and he kind of needs to draw both of them. So, of course, there's this tile that immediately gives green a meeple back, and with an extra meeple, he'll be able to get just enough, just a couple of extra points to outrun any threats from black. And, of course, there's the quick point scoring tile for this 4-point city, or a 4-point row for that matter. It's a barbed wire tile that fits in both places. And, well, obviously, if green draws a quick point tile at any point before the last tile, it increases his lead from 6 to 10 points, and that's already much, much harder, if not impossible, to manage with just 1 meeple. Alright, so Bryan now is making a setup. He's dropping a city cap in his farm, hoping to draw the city cap that goes here, which would give him 7 points, 3 for the city and some more for the farm. Yeah, now we see Bryan now goes here. But you kind of want to do stuff like this earlier when there's still city caps. Also, like, Bryan could have gone here as well, just trying to equalize the game. Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Like, Bryan could have gone here, just equalize the score. Yes, exactly. Okay, maybe the chat is like a little bit delayed. So, yeah, just like take the 6-point road. It's also possible that Tito maybe didn't see that road necessarily. This would equalize the game. And then I think Tito wins if he draws this tile. Yeah, and now Bryan takes the 6-point road, and that's going to be it. Well, this actually is pretty interesting. As Tito finishes the city, drops a farmer. It's going to be pretty close. Okay, he got 9. This guy got 6, so 3. Okay, so this move is going to put Bryan plus 7. Yeah, and Tito can only score 3. Oh no, only score 4 over the road. So I believe Bryan should have this by 3 points. And even if he were to draw this key tile, he would still lose. By 1 point. He'd be able to... Okay, he would... No, he would take 4 points for the city, but he would lose by a tie. Okay, well, miscounted the points a little bit, so it's a 2-point difference, not a 3-point difference, but you sort of get the gist. Yeah, really nice control of the endgame by Bryan Townsend here. I kind of felt that really outplayed his opponent. So initially I was a bit critical about the placement of the city, but it all ended up working out. Maybe because he was confident in his field play, and well, yeah, I felt like Black made some uncharacteristic mistakes, such as with this monastery over here, which, by the way, got completed. Also, another monastery drawn by Black, almost completed. It's really like all those opening moves that have these far-reaching consequences. And, yeah, the idea of Bryan to get a stronghold on the field worked totally like a charm. And then he just managed to hold it strong and not give us back his lead. So it's 2-0. So the fans of Tito need to make themselves known in the chat. Hi, Isna. And we're now headed to game 3. So, in order to pull this off and get the title, Hector Arce needs to win 3 games in a row. This has happened previously in Carcassonne and other mine sports. So, not to worry if you're a fan of Tito, especially given the fact that Hector already has 4 points on the scoreboard as a result of the city over here. Tito's continuing his city, at the same time obstructing Bryan's road a little bit. And Green now decides to bother Black a little bit, not allow him to finish this city easily. I actually quite like this move. Yeah, I prefer like a different orientation slightly in these situations, but the idea here is simply that Black wouldn't have good uses for okay. Interesting. Yeah, so at least, of course, he tries to block, which makes sense. But as insurance, he needs to play this monastery meeple, because what if this happens? What if black gets a tile that defends the city? Then at least he's going to have these potentially 9 points as an insurance. And that's the difference between using the monastery as a blocking tile and using a monastery as a flexible tile, which accounts for either blocking or compensation scenarios. And we can see that black here goes for the content move, for my favorite self-invasion, which fans of the Catalan master David Bourdois will absolutely approve of. Well, actually, this is really, I mean, it is also the best move, because you can't leave this alone. Like, if you leave this alone, then green just draws a tile, any city tile, and equalizes the city. But now it's also quite easy to complete, actually. I mean, still 6 tiles that go here, like many options to develop it like this. And also, look at that. Bryan drew the quadruple city tile, and the only legal placement was here to help black. What does black do? It's interesting. Do we go here and simply try and go all out in the city? No, black decides to go here. That's really interesting. And also break the connection between these roads, but I'm not sure I like breaking the connection between these roads, because this road is not that good. It's just sort of sticking into the city and doesn't really do anything much. Black now develops his city, but he develops it sideways. And this is interesting because it sort of looks like black is afraid of invasion. And we remember how good was Tito in the semifinals by covering up the invasion squares to all his big cities. But the difference is there are no green meeples on the cities. Like with 2 black meeples, black is not going to attack. Green is not going to attack. Green is just simply going to try and block. And what this move does, it makes it a bit harder for black to finish the city eventually, because now he will need to place 6 tiles to do that. This, of course, was an amazing tile to place here, but it doesn't come without its problems. First of all, like, if you're gonna do this, why not just do this last move, yeah? But second, all of the 4 quadruple city tiles have gone out. Not the quadruple, but the triple city tiles with a piece of land. So this means that once Bryan places something here, which he will, black will have fewer defense options. So he'll need to go here and use this tile as a Dorito. Yeah, and sort of save the square towards a Dorito. That's my point. Also, I'm kind of surprised that he chose not to defend the city, but instead go here. And I anticipate difficulties for black. Like, with the city, I would say black is not the favorite to finish it at the moment. And it's a very difficult monastery. Well, you gotta meeple. That's a great idea. So, there's still... Well, actually, I'm not sure. I mean, it's very risky, but I think you're going to have to risk it. Now, normally I'd say this is a great move because there are only 2 blocking tiles. They're only those 2 starting tiles. But in reality, they're not 2. There are 7 blocking tiles, because any Dorito could have been used to turn like this to commit the square to a triple city tile, knowing that all 4 triple city tiles with a piece of land have gone out. But fortunately for him, Tito just in time draws a 4-point city that also protects the square. So now the Doritos go here nicely. It's just these 2 other squares that Tito needs to take care of first. Okay, Edgar is saying the orientation reduces variance because it doesn't give a monastery spot. The orientation of which tile? Maybe the chat is delayed a little bit. Bryan gets a third monastery in his cluster. This should be super scary if you're black. So I think really like probably as black, we need the completion of the city and then some. Yeah, we need a prompt completion of the city and farmers. Then we can talk about winning this game. The 6-point advantage will help a little bit. There are some city pieces here that are likely to come back. Yeah, and black wants to be the first on the farm. I like this move. He also wants to restrict the square a little bit. Yeah, it's actually really annoying because like if black places something here, if green places something here, then black immediately places something here, putting pressure on this square. So green's gonna need to go here now, probably meeple the city cap. I don't think you can afford to leave it open. And then try to wait for one of the 2 remaining monastery to take care of this square. Yeah, probably this is what I would do if I were Bryan, and I wouldn't even bother fighting for the field just yet. Although it could be interesting. Let's say if you drop a farmer, and that's also a possibility. Because leaving an empty city cap is not that bad, because black already has 2 cities on city caps. So black really wants to get some meeples back before taking care of this. Green continues his road and also prepares the option of finishing this like that. Ooh, Tito's trying to finish his city the fast way. Will it hurt him or not? I don't know. I mean, I would have probably done the same. Didn't really. Well, actually, no. I think there was another move, potentially. Yeah, I like this move as Tito. Now, of course, Tito has to defend. There's no other choice. Like, the city's way too important. Like, that's his game. Yeah, excellent priority. Discipline by black. Because it's tempting to try and be efficient and finish that city and then wait for a curve for defense. But it's way too critical, because had black not placed the tile over here, green would have gone over here and completely blocked the square. Because remember, like, this is an unusual situation. All of the 4 triple cities with a piece of land have already gone out. The only types of triple cities remaining are triple cities with a road, which fit in this deck. So Tito is now 1 tile away from covering up his city. He just needs a city cap, any kind of city cap. And I would say that, let's say if Bryan goes here, which is a reasonable move, it's one of the possibilities, and tries to attack the city, then as Tito, if we draw a city cap that fits into that square, we don't finish our city, we put it here, we sacrifice this meeple, just because covering up the city is so important for our win percentage. Because like with this tile, and this, and this, and this, it's approaching upwards of 40 points, which is why I'm absolutely loving this move by Bryan. So first of all, it's a very easy field invasion, because black is going to let green into the farm by placing a tile over here. I mean, black is going to try and finish the city, but also it gives some chance at blocking this square. It's going to reduce the number of city caps that fit there. Then as Bryan, we can try and draw a city cap here, and draw 4 points, creates a platform of tempo, which is why actually I don't like this move as Bryan. I think I would have preferred this move over here, taking care of this road first, and then just use a different tile for a blocking square. He went for the urgency. He decided that blocking is urgent, but actually, I don't think it really was that urgent, and I'll tell you why. So you see, if you block from above, regardless of how you block, you're going to still leave your opponent options. You're going to still leave your opponent options. I'll tell you how. So like if you place a straight line like this, there are still 2 starting tiles. And if you get like a city tile, yeah, that's worse, but still it's technically possible to draw both 2 out of 3 horses and continue the city like this. But if you just wait for any tile that goes here, let's say like a regular city cap, you take 4 points, and you successfully managed to put something here, then it's not just a restriction, it's a complete block, because all of the 3 dagger tiles that would have fit into the square have gone out. So even though this sequence leads to more immediate restriction, just waiting for a better tile, I believe leads to an overall lower chance of black completing this city. Craft brings in an excellent point. Yeah, green could semi-block in such a way that black needs 3 or 4 vanilla Doritos to finish the city. It's a great idea. But well, here's the thing. Actually, 3 vanilla Doritos is still a really good chance, because there's still 6 of those. And it's not 50%. I'll tell you, it's like, oh, it's like upwards of 70. It's really counterintuitive. Yeah, I don't think like people really understand, like drawing 3 out of 6, it's not 50%, it's more. So those of you who know how binomial distribution works will understand that immediately. Yeah, we can see that Bryan is now just going all out on blocking the city. And Tito now needs to realize something. Tito now needs to show discipline. Let's see what kind of player he is. So Bryan is sacrificing a lot of points on the blocking attempt. And Tito needs discipline. I'll tell you why. Tell you what this means. You see, normally you really want to go over here. Ooh, I'm finishing my monastery. I'm getting extra points. Maybe I'm meepling the road. And I'm sort of giving myself more chances of drawing a tile that fits here. But actually, no. If you go here, you give your opponent a chance to draw a city cap, score 4 points, and leave a gap which is completely unfillable, because again, all 3 of this tile have been used up. Exactly, so you have to do this. This is brilliant. A bit counterintuitive, but there's still 2 of those. The city's now nicely covered up, and all we need to do is wait for tiles. It's close to a coin flip. It's like slightly below. Wait, let me think about it. So 88, 75. So it's around. It's just a bit over 60% for black to finish the city. So he needs to draw 1 of 6 Doritos, 1 of 3 cow tiles, and 1 of 2 barbed wires. This is what needs to happen for black to finish this city. So 3 critical tiles, but multiple tiles still available to do that for an overall a really good chance. Bryan now scores quick points, and actually he still has a chance to win this game, even without the big city. And Tito does something interesting. Actually, I would have thought of something similar. So he doesn't want to draw the Dorito, put the Dorito here just yet, because there's still 5 of those remaining. Well, of course, there's 4 Doritos plus the 1 splitter, right? And instead, he wants to take care of the monasteries first. And it's a very, very nasty move. First of all, it makes sure that you can't finish a monastery with another monastery. And it also makes sure that if green wants to finish his monastery, he's forced to place a vanilla city cap there and give black some points. So it's a very nice move. On the other hand, if you need 2 critical tiles elsewhere, this gives up just like a percentage point, a couple percentage points of this city being completed. But still, very good move. I think it's a very good move. Now, with Doritos drawn by HT Bry, and most importantly, this tile over here drawn by HT Bry, that was a biggie. Something that black really needed. So we are now going to defend on a coin flip. Is there a tile that fits here or not? Now, because black is trying to finish his city, black was not able to go here. Black would have loved to go here and try to block this meeple. I'm a bit surprised that green simply finished his city. Given the fact there's still 1 curve remaining, again 4 curves here, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a road monastery, I think it was a very strong move to go here and drop a farmer as green. Especially if you know that your black could finish this city. Because like if we win this farm, then we might just as well withstand this city as green. Now, an interesting thing has happened. Of course, a crucial tile drawn by Tito, 3 points for the road. These 3 points matter a lot. No, it's not, of course, the 3 points. It's the fact that it fits here into this big city. 1 tile away from completing it. But look at all these Doritos that HT Bry is drawing. And now only 1 remaining in the deck. So if you're Tito, imagine the frustration. Like, because you drew a Dorito, and you spent it on this move. Again, absolutely reasonable move. But because you need all these other tiles, when you sacrifice a tile here, it's a bit more damaging than normal. So like for well, again, I said like a couple percentage points, like 3 or something. Was it more? Yeah, around 3. No, more than 3. Anyway, imagine like if black draws all the tiles except the many Doritos. So again, 1 Dorito that's probably going to decide the fate of this game. Or will it? Because like black's city is pretty good as a ruin as well. And black has this 9-point farm versus a 3-point farm by green. But green has the monasteries and the scoreboard lead, so green's still going to be ahead. Yeah, it's very, very tricky now for black. So what do? Do you invade the city? Or do you maybe just like try to score as much compensation as you possibly can? Because as black, you now need to try find a win without a Dorito. So he goes for this. Is that a complete block? Maybe. But green now draws the quick point out, and that's why we should have maybe considered meepling this road ourselves. Wait, Tito with a regular city cap? So that's why it kind of makes me a bit surprised about that move, but okay. Opponents exchange quick points, plus 13 still for HT Bry. Green with the last curve. Probably can consider like meepling a 6-point field or something. Not really a lot to do. Yeah, because if green doesn't meeple the 6-point field, black's gonna do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 points on this city. Yeah, it's really not that much, but it makes the game pretty close. These monasteries cancel out. So these cities cancel out. 17 points for city extra on the land. That's 23. And these monasteries are 15. So that would put... Yeah, and also 4 extra points for Tito. So I believe currently Bryan is ahead 2 points. Which means that there's probably no coming back from this Dorito. But if green draws the Dorito, maybe black has some chances still. Bryan is about to score some quick points, or maybe just meeple this 5-point city. That's also an option. And he indeed does that. Yeah, he really didn't want to allow Tito meepling that city. Well, Bryan now gets a city cap. Presumably gonna go over here and try to complete this city, if that is still at all possible. I believe there's one dagger still left. And there is indeed. Tito gets a Dorito! But not that kind. So we still don't know what's gonna happen to that guy. A blocking move from Tito very wisely, as Bryan was about to finish that city, but it's now no longer possible. But he'll finish another city and drop a farmer. I'm not sure exactly why he's thinking about this. Well, he does need to think a little bit. So now I believe it's just the Dorito for Tito. It's his only chance to hang on to this match. 40% chance. With 5 unseen tiles to him. 4 in the deck, 1 in Bryan's hand. Yeah, honestly, like I don't think Black's moves really matter here. I don't think any of the moves matter now. It's like it's just either the Dorito or not. I'm not sure. Can Bryan withstand a 36-point city? Maybe? Okay, now Tito chooses to meeple a farmer here, but why not the 6-point farm here? There's something that I don't know. Bryan takes 5 quick points. Honestly, I believe that he could withstand the Dorito, actually. Now Tito needs to spend his meeple. He needs to go here and meeple this farm. Does he see this farm? Or will he meeple the 4-point road instead? No, he does see the farm. He meeples the 6-point farm. And it's as Bryan who anticlimactically draws the Dorito. And makes it a very short but exciting match. The reason why I'm a bit sad is because I would have loved to see black draw the Dorito, because I believe that actually green had still chances to win despite this. So let's say he'd be losing, so the city would be 36 points, but the farms would unify and he would get a monastery as a compensation. Well, I guess also black farmer would score. Craft Giraffe is saying binomial distribution didn't work this time. No, we did. Because he did get a Dorito. He just used it elsewhere. So that's why it has to sting so much. So he needed to draw 1 of 2, 1 of 3, and 1 of 6. He drew 1 of 6. Then he figured, okay, I still have 5. So I have 1 of 2, 1 of 3 out of 5. I can do this later. And he can have 1 of 2. And he drew this. He drew this. But the most high prob one he didn't draw. So like overall it looks like really unlucky, but not really, because like if you multiply all the probabilities of all tiles, like it's not that unlucky. It was like much closer to a coin flip overall than you think. Like with 5 Doritos. With 6 Doritos, it's like closer to 60. With 5, it's like 55-ish%. So yeah, yeah, because also like the other thing about probabilities is like the closer we are to the end of the game, and the more different places you need that tile, then multiplication of probabilities becomes a less reliable estimate, and the actual probability is like a little bit lower. Because well, the reason of that is like, how do I say this? Anyway, just gotta trust me with this one. Maybe I'll make a video about probabilities or something like this. I've been saying this for like months and months and months and months. What we need to focus now is that Bryan Townsend defeated Hector Arce convincingly 3-0. Something that I did not expect. I thought it would be way closer. Also, as a cherry on top, passed the threshold of 600, and also took a lot of Tito's precious elo, and overall played like really well. And the thing with this move, I don't think is bad. I think it's good. Like, it does give away those a couple of percent. It's very stings. It stings a lot. That like it's exactly the Dorito that was missing here. But the thing is, like, if black doesn't do this and just connects here, then maybe green finishes all his monasteries and wins despite black completing his city. So again, like, it's not about completing the city, it's about winning the game. And a very valiant idea, the self-invasion, trying to build a monstrosity just 1 square short. So thanks for the effort to HT Bry. It was entertaining, at least for me, to watch that kind of stuff. And yeah, seriously, congratulations to our online Carcassonne champion of Chile, Bryan Townsend, who, both of these players, by the way, will be representing Chile in the International Carcassonne Champions League 2025. The reason for that is that Chile is currently rated top 4 in the world amongst all Carcassonne nations, and as such has the right to send 2 players straight to the group stage of the Champions League. Right, let's actually have a look like this. Players, so who's going to be playing for Chile? Yeah, so Tito and HT Bry go straight to the group stage. the third place finisher of this online championship, with a screen name This is Vegan CL, whom we saw in the semifinals, will play in the international qualifiers. And Claudio Jorquera will play in the third qualification. The third qualifying tournament is for those countries who won international tournaments. So Copa America. Well, yeah, this is where Chile took second place. We actually streamed that match. For those of you who watch this channel a lot, you must have seen this a few months ago. That was the finals against Brazil. And Claudio Jorquera presumably was chosen as the fourth place finisher of this online championships. Yeah, and so if you just look at all the qualifications, these are like the two international qualifiers for big countries, the big Carcassonne nation, the small Carcassonne nations. Then this is for competition winners. So this includes Copa America, World Championship, stuff like this. Mind Sports Olympiad. Hey to fellow Latvians. And well, yeah, there's also that. Q4 is that's where I'm playing. That's for simply just players who have a high elo on Board Game Arena. And eventually some of those are going to meet in the group stage of the Champions League in early 2025, something that's going to be streaming a lot. Anyway, that should be enough. Oh, okay, there I have a question in the chat. If Black had the Dorito, he would have had 20-ish points extra. I could say, yeah, he would have had, but not enough because fields get connected. Green would have won anyway. Yeah, so Green would get, okay, so Green would get 3 extra field points. Because 3-point field unified with a 1-point field, which means that Green gets 6. I mean, we still have the position here. Wait, so that's a different position. Yeah, so Green gets 6. Green gets 7 because of the monasteries. He gets an extra monastery point. Well, Black gets a monastery point. Green gets 2 monastery points, right? And then Black would get 3 points for this farmer. So 4 points is what HG Bry would get, putting him at plus 21. And this Dorito would have given us 36, 19 points. So this means that Brian would have won plus 2. Well, it also depends on the timing, like, and what tile does Brian draw instead. Because, like, if we draw the Dorito early enough, then of course we can use the 2 remaining meeples to score. Yeah, and maybe also, like, another thing that Black could have done is maybe invade this field with a second meeple. For example, here. Just try and invade this field with 1 more meeple at some point. Already kind of anticipating the unification of all those fields. But yeah, just Dorito would not have been enough. So I guess this just shows, like, how first of all, is like how underrated temporary meeple advantages are. Because, like, despite all this huge setup, Brian just managed to build all kind of other stuff, like this monastery cluster, even if not completed. Of course, this 8-point city over here, which I think was like a bit overlooked. This ruin, yeah, just like a fantastic performance today from Brian. Has clearly added a lot to his game, and hopefully I'm not in the same group as him in the Champions League. Oh, thank you, Raf, for checking. So 65% to get 3 out of 6. Yeah, or 3 out of 6 tiles or more. Yep, binomial distribution. Alrighty. Then probably see you soon enough for some more streams. I don't know, and we're gonna wrap it up. It's getting late in Europe. Just meet with the like button and thank you all so much for watching. And I'm gonna see you soon.